Okay, I'll figure it out after this live is done. Hi, everybody. My name is Chocolate Beauty. Again, I'm doing my introduction because I had some technical difficulties, but you guys can see the topic is about Jessie Smollett and the smoke and mirrors. Yesterday, I had put it up on my personal page, that I needed answers to why was all 16 counts dropped against Jessie Smollett, because it didn't make any sense. So I spoke to a few people on their pages, and I went on a few people's lives, and then there were a few people that inboxed me that gave me their opinion, and there was some conspiracy theorists that was inboxing me, and I thought that their perspective was interesting. For me, I'm going to say this. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. I didn't partake in... I don't know what happened. I don't know the story. I know just as much as you. I have just as much insight as you. So I don't know what happened. The only people that know what happened is the people that were all involved in God. That's it. So I'm just going to give you my opinion of what happened. Well, first of all, I would say this. I believe that there was some type of form of altercation. Rather, Jessie actually was the culprit behind his own attack, or if it was something that actually happened. But I do believe that something did happen, but at the same time, I believe that there is something else going on here, and Jessie definitely lied about a few things because the story doesn't add up. And I think that because he lied, I don't know if he lied about something big or if he lied about something small. I don't know. God knows what exactly he lied about. But I believe something did happen to him, rather, like I said, if he was attacked or if he set it up. But the thing that was so confusing about this whole situation was how aggressively the Chicago PD and the prosecutor went to, charge him with all these counts. Now, there's people who have committed serious crimes, like drunk drivers has, killed people behind the wheel, and they didn't even face not even a quarter of the time that they were offering Jessie for not being truthful about what happened that night. I thought the charges was ridiculous. I felt like he should have been punished because he definitely, there's something amiss. There's something else going on that we may not know. Something is definitely wrong. And I think what made it worse was when he finally, after the attack, he finally appeared and he started to, do these different concerts and, making comments like, oh, I'm the gay Tupac. And it's like, usually when somebody's attacked, they don't go out and just do all that, because it's a public matter and it's humiliating. Nobody wants to talk about being beat in the middle of the street or beat minding their business. It's not something that you want to gloat or glorify. Or, he could have did it a different way. I think that he went about it the wrong way. And I also think that that a lot of people, including me, I got on the defense this is terrible. He's a human being like everybody else. Nobody should be attacked because of their sexual orientation. Whatever is going on with them is in between them and God. We are not here to judge them, just like how we don't want people to judge us. So I pretty much came to his defense immediately because I felt like that's, terrible. Who wants to be beat, have bleach thrown on them, and then to have a noose placed around their neck? I mean, it's just so extreme. But in the climate that we are living in right now, you see that there's a lot of violence going on against people of color. And not only is he a person of color, but he's also gay. And that makes it even more worse because you're thinking like, okay, people can't just be themselves and not be attacked. There's people who, you come across people with the nastiest attitudes, like they make everybody's world miserable whenever they come around, and they're very unhappy people. So are you going to attack them every single time they step foot or you see their face? No, that doesn't make any logical sense. So of course I jumped and was just like, this is wrong, this is dead wrong. But after a few days and the investigation started to go on, there was a few things that didn't make any sense. And then it was the two personal trainers that worked on the set. They were actors, but they're also personal trainers as well. And they actually worked with Jessie, and they know him. They were good friends with him. And when it came out of with them traveling, going to the store and buying, the MAGA hats and all these different things that was used in the attack against Jessie, and it just made it look really bad. And what made it worse is that Chicago already has a stain on the city because of the police corruption that's going on there, all the cover-ups and everything that's going on in that city, the violence that's going on in the city, because we know that they call Chicago Chirac. It's a place where a lot of murders happen. People are not safe. So it just put a bad stain that this movie star came into the city, was minding his business, got something to eat, got attacked, and was racially and sexually profiled. It was just too much. And I felt like when they started to pick holes into his story, Chicago already has his reputation. Chicago PD has his reputation of just being extremely corrupt. That they just went on the attack and they made an example out of him. I felt like it was excessive. I think that they went out of their way to just attack him. I mean, I do believe that he did lie. And he did need to be exposed for the lies that he did tell. But the way that they went about it, it was just extreme. It was extreme. And they went out their way to not only make an example out of a black man, they went out their way to make an example of a gay black man. And there is a lot of things that's going on within our culture with that. It's a lot. And it just, I just felt like there was so many things that was wrong with this investigation from the start. I felt like the Chicago PD, they were lying about things, and because Jessie, because of the evidence that they had, they painted Jessie as a liar anyway. So even if there was some truth behind anything that he was saying, Chicago PD already, made him out to be a liar. So there was a lot of things going on with the media, and every single day for about 7 days, you heard something new about it. And then Jessie did that interview, and it just was bad. I don't know who his publicist is, or why his team even had him do that interview. It just made the situation worse. And it's just like people just use that as Chicago PD used that as ammunition and just turned their guns on him. It was just like they just blew him away. But when they arrested the two guys that was connected to this investigation, and they were saying, Jessie had paid them to hurt him, and that he gave them $3,500 for their services. But Jessie's team released a text message saying that these services was used for training, and they had the evidence to back up that he was asking them questions about working out, what he can eat, and they were going back and forth about certain things that he can do to lose weight for another role. He had that. I'm not saying that he didn't pay them to do it, but I'm not saying that they actually did it. I don't know. But what's making me question this whole situation is I went on TMZ and I seen that the brothers had clammed up and that their lawyers quit. Now, it's usually the other way around. Like, usually you fire your attorney and then you go on to another attorney. It is very rare that you find an attorney that got you out of prison because they locked them up and then that lawyer got them out and gave them evidence and they got it out of prison. Now, all of a sudden, after all the charges were dropped from Jessie, you find out the lawyer for these two men quit. That's suspect to me. That's very suspect to me. How is that even possible? How is that even, I don't get it. All of a sudden, they were, investigating him and he was facing 16 counts of all these different charges and facing 64 years in prison for lying about an attack. And all of a sudden it's dropped. And then before we even find out that the attorneys quit working, representing these two men, you hear the prosecutor come on and say, just because we dropped the charges does not mean that Jessie is not guilty. Now, there's been situations where we have seen it on TV where we know that somebody committed a crime and they're guilty as sin and they get charged and all charges are dropped due to insufficient evidence. And you know that they're guilty as sin, that they actually committed the crime. I'm not saying that Jessie is innocent, and I'm not saying that he's guilty. But what I'm saying is that they didn't have the evidence to begin with. I don't believe that they had all the evidence. The only thing that they knew for a fact is that Jessie was hiding something and he was lying about something. And because he was lying and hiding things, they used it against him. And now you find, everybody is backpedaling. It's like for the past 24 hours, everybody's been backpedaling. Then you see the text message from the prosecutor and Jessie's team trying to get her to find ways for him to get out of the situation. And she just did an interview saying that he was, all he had to do was community service. I've never heard that a day in my life. I've never heard that you do community service before you're sentenced. Usually when you're sentenced, you agree to community service. And then, your charges are reduced and or erased. For the fact that he was being charged with 16 counts, had 64 years, they were gunning for him, and all of a sudden they say, oh, well, even if we went to trial, if we would have prosecuted him, he would have only gotten this, he would have only gotten community service, so we're just saving time. But wait a minute. Last week, Monday, y'all were still going after him. So that doesn't make any sense. And then you find out that all these things is happening with the brothers. Something is not adding up with those brothers. I'm sorry. Something is not adding up. I don't know if they're scared. Some people who I spoke to about the situation, they said that, we think that that they were paid off. The Chicago PD was paid off. The prosecutor was paid off, and these brothers were paid off. First of all, Jessie is in the hole for his legal fees. He's going to pay these. These lawyers sometimes can go up in the millions just to protect you and get you out of things because they know the system.